Okay, so this is the last topic of the first module. How to choose the size of the number of generating units. How to choose the size and the number of generating means what should be the generating capacity of your power plant, and in this power plant how many units should be there. For example, like in the Kolaghat, initially Kolaghat started with 3 units. Now the Kolaghat total 6 units are there, and these 6 units simultaneously able to generate the power. Some of the power plants are there, suppose where the load demand is low. Suppose 2 units are there, and among the 2 units, one is continuously run to meet the load demand, but other is put like a reserve thing. Means if the first one is need to be maintenance or some problems are there in the first unit, then the second unit will generate. But for the normal operation, the first one is generating the electricity to meet the load demand, and the second one is keep it as a reserve. But this thing is not happens in the Kolaghat. In the Kolaghat, all the 6 units are simultaneously able to generate according to their rating to meet the load demand. So the question is how to choose the size of the power plant, and how to choose the number of generating units in the power plant. So what is the first criteria how to choose the size of the power plant?
So power rating এর উপর depend করে.
No, it's not the power rating. So you are the engineer, you must know the correct term. It's power demand.
Oh, power demand.
Okay, so you know that so many demands are there. One is called the connected load, but connected loads is a virtual type of thing. The consumer never connect all the loads simultaneously in their premises or in their home. So that means connected load is a fake term. One term is there which is called the maximum demand. So in a particular day, again the maximum demand is not fixed. In a particular day, total 24 hours are there, and among the 24 hours, generally maximum time the base load is there. Some of the times on the like the 4 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours, the maximum demand are demanded by the load, and in that time you need to generate that maximum demand. So your power plant must meet slightly more than the maximum demand. So this is the main criteria for choosing the size of the generating plants. Now, suppose the maximum demand is 100 megawatt, and you installed a alternator which has a rating of 110 megawatt. So the first criteria is fulfilled. Whatever be the maximum demand in your area or in the load area, you installed a power plant where the generating capacity of the units or the alternators is 110 megawatt. So first criteria is fulfilled. But you just installed one unit, one single alternator which has the maximum, which has the generating capacity of 110 megawatt. Now, is it good or is it bad? Compared to the second situation, second the same, you have a 100 megawatt load demand, but you install 11 number of generators, each generators having a capacity of 10 megawatt. So again, the total generating capacity of the power plant is 110 megawatt. So based on the capacity, both the power plants are same. But in one power plant, only one alternator is there, and in the other power plant, total 11 alternators are there. So which one you choose?
The second one.
The second one. Why?
The reliability is more in the second one.
So the very good point. This is the reliability. But first one is that if the number of unit is only one, then it is not reliable. What is called this is the second point actually, reliability. What is called the reliability? Reliability means continuity of the supply. The insurance of the continuity of the supply is called the reliability. But suppose you installed one single unit, and suppose due to some maintenance, some problem is there in the unit and you need to maintain it. So in that time, the time required to maintain the unit, in that time the load is not supplied, so load shedding will be there. So that means the reliability is very, very low if you installed a single unit. But if you install more number of units, then there is also some problem is there. We will discuss it after the chapter. But first one is that the first point, why not do you go for the single unit? It is based on the load demand. The load demand is variable. In all the load center, the load demand is variable. It is not constant. And load demand is drastically variable, because whatever be the difference between base load and the maximum or the peak load, these are huge. So that means maximum time we need to generate the base load, and few times we need to generate the maximum load to meet the maximum load demand. And this time duration is very small when you need to generate the maximum thing. So if we installed a 110 megawatt alternator, for example, and where the maximum load demand is 100 megawatt, but this 100 megawatt persists for a very small time, say 2 to 3 hours only. So that means maximum time, 90% time of the day, we need to generate less than the efficiency, because that unit is very efficient to generate up to 110 megawatt. But generally we need to generate 40 to 50 megawatt to make the base load. And very few times we need to generate 100 megawatt. So the efficiency of the alternator is not used properly. Okay, so this is not a granted thing. This is the first point. Second point is based on the reliability. Obviously, if one unit fails to operate, then load shedding will be there. So that's why we must install more number of generator, obviously more than one generator at least, to meet the load demand. But there is also some problem. If we increase the number of generator, you may install 100 units, each unit having a generating capacity of 1 megawatt. But what will be the problem? First problem is that with increased number of sets, the floor area required increased, the floor area required is also increases, and so the building cost. So that means whatever be the area required to install one single unit, if we install 10 units or more than 10 units, then obviously the area will be very high compared to the first one. So that means the building cost or the size of the power plant, it unnecessarily become very big. Got the point? This is the first point. This one is actually the answer. Why not to install more more number of units in the power plant? There should be some optimization. We should not install one single unit. We should not install more number of units. So optimization should be there. Some compromise should be there. We will discuss it later on. But first, we must discuss the reason why not to increase the generator size. Second, maintenance cost is also increases. So obviously, in the first case, we just need to maintain only one machine. But if we install 10 generators or 11 generators, then we need to maintain that one. So maintenance cost will be high also. Third one, more sets involve more starting, stopping, and parallel operation of the equipment. So here you see, this is obviously a main point, that if we installed say 10 generators, so every generator must be synchronized. This is a parallel operation of the generator. So every generator must generate same amount of electricity with the constant speed to maintain the frequency. So that means parallel operation, the starting, stopping, all these things need to be synchronized. So what will be the problem then? So this also results in increased personnel for handling the equipment, thus increase the cost. So obviously it should not be automatic. Some personnel must be there for maintaining all these kinds of synchronization. And as the number of personnel increases in that particular condition, so the cost is also increases. The last one is the capital cost of the larger number of sets of lower sizes is greater than the same capacity of the plant in a smaller number of units of larger size. So obviously, if we just installed one single unit of 110 megawatt compared to the 11 number of units each having 10 megawatts, obviously in the first case the capital cost is low compared to the second one, because these are also very sophisticated instruments. So the price difference is not very high. Whatever be the capacity, whatever be the generating capacity of the 100 megawatt alternator, the price difference is not very high compared to the 10 megawatt alternator. Okay, so the capital cost is increases in the second case. So that's why, so this study of above factor shows that there should be neither be one unit nor a large number of smaller unit of different sizes. So there has to be a compromise in the selection of units. Okay, so the aim should be to have a smaller number of units and to fit them as properly on the load demand or the load curve. So this is our requirement. Generally, so this choice, the choice is also governed by the base compromised between the plant capacity factor and the plant use factor. So what should be the best criteria to select the size of the power plant or to see the number of units of the power plant? Say for example like this one, load curve. So here you see, this is actually the load duration curve. So in this load duration curve, what is the maximum demand? Maximum demand is 1200 megawatt and the base demand is 400 megawatt. So what should be the number of generating units in this particular power plant? Say, try to guess. Don't feel shy. Whatever coming in your mind, please explain. Please share it
Sorry,
with the friends.
it should be in the multiple of 400. That
No, 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 no.
means,
What should be the number of
oh,
units?
acha,
Means how
400,
many number of units we should install. I'm not talking about generating capacity. How many units should be there?
3.
Very good. So this is the correct answer. So just see the load curve pattern. It is equal to 400 base 400 megawatt is the base power plant, base power. Then sometime it is 800. Then it's equal to 1200 is the last one. So if we install 3 generating units, each having a rating of just slightly more than 400 megawatt, then everything is satisfied. So generally, when the peak demands are there 1200 megawatt, then all the units should run simultaneously. When the base load demand is there, that means 400 megawatt, we need to shut down the 2 units and 1 unit is sufficient to meet the demand. And when the load demand is increased to 800 megawatt for the small 4-hour time, then we must shut down 1 unit and 2 units simultaneously generate the power. If we able to do this kind of thing schedule, then what happened, the utilization of each unit become very high. So the efficiency of the unit is also become high. They should generate suppose the 100% of their capacity. So the utilization factor of this particular units become very high. So in this way, after draw the load curve or the load duration curve, we must fix the number of size and the number of units in the power plant. So if the question, this is actually purely theoretical thing. So if this question will come in the semester, that how to find out the number of units and how to find out the size of the thing. So size of the thing is obviously find out from the load duration curve, the maximum demand curve, or you can say the load curve. And the number of generating units is depend upon this particular duration, load duration. Come to the last part, the operating states of the power plant. So here you see total 5 steps are there, states are there. Now what are these states? First is the normal state. Now here you see E and I is there. What is the meaning of E and I? E is called the equality constant and I is called the inequality constant, like this one. E is called the equality constant. Equality constant means what? Equality constant means the generation should be equal to load demand. That is called the equality constant. And E bar means this is the equality constant not satisfied. This is one of the thread of the generation. Similarly, this is the inequality constant. Inequality constant means what? Inequality constant means the generator limit should not crosses or should not touch the upper and lower. The particular unit generation should not touches it upper and lower maximum generation or maximum or minimum generation. It should not be the maximum generation. It should not be the minimum generation. The generation of the particular unit should be within the maximum and minimum generation of a particular power plant. That's why it is called the inequality constant. It should not be equal. And that's why it is called the equality constant, because load demand should be equal to the generation. And I dash means this is the inequality constant not satisfied. So for the normal operation, both the equality and inequality constant must be satisfied. Now let's see, when all are satisfied properly, this is called the normal state, where E and I mean all this condition is satisfied, economic dispatch and load tracking, and this is called the secured state. So this state is very much secure. Then next one is called the alert state. Alert state means E and I is satisfied, but they are actually going to means equality constant is going to inequality constant, like this one. Okay, so the generation is going to touch to the limits, like this condition. So that's why they are called the alert state. Alert state is not the unhealthy state. This is also a secure state, but this going to be insecure. So that's why this is called an insecure state. And some preventive control should be there. And after taking some preventive control, if it is become again normal, then we can again move to the secure state from the alert state. That's why both side arrow is also there. Then after the alert state, if the preventive control is not taken, then it will go to the emergency state. Now what is called the emergency state? So in the emergency state, E is satisfied. The load demand is made by the generation, but here you see the I dash is there. I dash is there means the generation is actually touches some of the limits. It may be the upper limit, but maybe the lower limit. So this one is called the in emergency state. And if this thing is persist, then it will go to the in extreme state. So system still intact. Okay, system still intact means we doesn't need to disconnect the system or disconnect the alternator from the load demand. The system is generating the electricity, it is serving the load demand, but it is in the alert state. Now, in extreme state means where both the things are not satisfied. The generation is also not satisfied and the inequality constant is also not satisfied. Then protects equipment, reduce losses. And then in this time, we must disconnect the system or disconnect the power plant from the load center. Then restorative state, where this one is actually met, the inequality constant is actually met, but obviously in this particular moment the generation should not be equal to the load demand, so that means E is not equality constant is not satisfied, and this is called the resynchronization. And after the resynchronization, it may again go to the alert state, or if everything become normal, so it will again go to the normal state where the generation is within the limit and the generation is equal to the load demand. So these are the different states of the power system. Okay. The explanation of the states are also there in these paragraphs.
স্যার বলছি এটা কি যে কোনো একটা টাইমের মধ্যেই সাথে সাথে হয়ে যায় নাকি
টাইমের মধ্যে মানে বলো একবার?
মানে ধরুন অটোমেটিক, এখনকার দিনে তো সবই অটোমেশন চলে এসেছে, তো এগুলো সব অটোমেশনে আর কি, মানে এট এ টাইম সবকটা রিকগনাইজ করে না, ধরুন একটা প্রোগ্রাম যেরকম চালালে যা হয় সেরকম হয় নাকি ম্যানুয়ালি সবকটা আস্তে আস্তে দেখে দেখে?
Suppose your power system state in the normal state, so everything is become healthy. Now due to some of the problem, you see suppose 3 units are there, unit 1 to 3. You see the unit 1 is normally generated, it's not touches the limit, but you or your program or the SCADA suppose sometime observe that the unit 2, which is supposed to generate between say 100 and 50 megawatt, 100 is the maximum limit and 50 is the minimum limit. Now they actually generating in the health state 70 megawatt. So 70 is within 150, everything is become healthy. Now this 70 is due to some reason it now start increasing, and if it is increasing beyond say 90, then it's become the alert state. Okay, 90 means it not crosses the limit because the limit is 100 megawatt and it's now generating 90. But this 70 to 90 jump, this actually indicates that this particular unit may go to the emergency state. Okay, then you need to do some precautionary measure or preventive measure to make the generation again 70. Okay. Now, if you are able to measure or if your program is able to control this thing, then it is again go to the normal state. It doesn't need to go to the emergency or this in extreme state like this one. But if it is fails to generate, because here the control is not very easy, it's not like a microprocessor control. So to control this thing, first of all, we need to control the steam generation, then we need to control the steam pressure. So time will be taken. And within this time, if everything is again become normal, it's fine. But within this time, because it's the control is, the signal can be given instantly, but executing this signal takes some time. Suppose your SCADA system or the main control system said that the unit is generating more, it may go beyond the limit, so we need to decrease the generation. How to decrease the generation? Only one method is there. We need to control the steam valve, and to control the steam valve, and if we just arbitrarily control the steam valve, then the steam pressure may become very high, the blast may be there, so that means we need to decrease the temperature, we need to control the steam valve. So just executing this process, some time is needed. So that's why these are actually the states. If it is possible, then we can again go to the normal state. Means it's not a loop. From every state, the other state, that means emergency state, we can again go to the alert state, again go to the normal state. But if it is in the extreme state, then we cannot go to the normal state directly. Okay. First, we need to, this state means what? This state means here, two limits are violated. Two things are violated. One, the load demand is not satisfied. Second one, the generation crosses the limit. So what the thing first we need to do? We need to make the generation within the limit. This is our prime importance. The load demand is satisfied is not the prime importance in this state. So first we need to decrease or increase the generation to make the generation within the limit. If it is possible, then we go for the this equality constant. That means the load demand should be equal to this one. So that means this is actually the states in the power plant. It's not necessary that every time we need to go to the normal to alert or alert to emergency like this one. If everything is become healthy, or if you able to control all these things quickly within this time, then it's again become the normal state. But the main problem is that if the load demand is constant, then every power plant in the whole world always remain in the normal state. But the problem is that the load demand is not constant, and the variation is also not very slow. If it is a slow variation, then again every state may be in the normal state, or sometime it may be go to the alert state, but sometimes huge variations are there. So within 5 minute time, the generation increased to 50 megawatt, 100 to 150 megawatt. So this 5 minute, within this 5 minute time, if the generation increases to 50 megawatt, then this type of emergency or the inexperienced state may be there, because it's not some inertia mechanical system. This is a completely mechanical system. So that means inertias are there. So that means it is not possible to control or increase or decrease the generation instantly. We need to take care of so many things. So this time requirement is there, and within this time, if it is able to control, then everything become happy. But within this short time, 5 minute time, if we're not able to control all these things due to the inertia, due to the limitation of the power plant, then we need to go to the emergency or this inexperienced state. Because that is a software. Software is everything controlled by the software. But the main problem is that this is a mechanical device. The software is actually control some mechanical device. I mean, inertias are there, and so many dangerous things are there which you need to be take care. You cannot be very extreme control or the very fast control. So everything you need to keep, or everything need to be taken care by the software. So that's why time is required. And within this time, the load demand is not satisfied. So all this thing is described here. So that ends the first module. In the first module, again, I'm saying that mainly the factors are there. So you need to remember what is the meaning of that factor and what is the expression of the factor. If you're able to remember these things, then 80% of the syllabus is, means for the first module syllabus is covered, and you can easily do the numericals, because numericals are very easy, but provided you need to know exact meaning of the factor, not by just by remember. You need to know what is the meaning of this reserve capacity and the expression also. Don't try to remember this expression only, because this term is also required when you study MTech in the power system or the higher studies. So just remember what is the meaning of this one and the expression also. Then you can easily do this kind of thing, because every numerical is same. Sometimes you need to do some of the little bit calculation before you put in the formula. Now, in the next day, I will start with this one, the unit commitment. Okay. So today I just give you an introduction what is called the unit commitment. Unit commitment means, okay, so I can give you the example from here. So listen very carefully. You can easily understand why the unit commitment is required, why the study is required. Say, here, what is the minimum load demand?
400.
400 megawatt.
400.
And what is the maximum load demand?
1200.
1200.
So according to our previous discussion, how many units should be there?
3 units.
3 units.
3 units. And 3 units should be there, and the generating capacity of the unit is slightly less than 400 megawatt. Okay. Why slightly less than? Because some insufficient loss are there, some failures may be there. That's why the generation should be equal to slightly more than the maximum demand. Okay, so here you see the load demand is 400 for the base one, then 800 sometime, and maximum it is 1200 megawatt. Now, when the load demand is 1200 megawatt, how many units should run?
3 units.
All the 3 units should run to meet the load demand. No confusions are there. This is just the on-off light, the control, or yes, no digital thing, that when the maximum load demand is there, then we must run all the units. That's why the unit is installed. No confusions are there. But when there is a minimum demand, 400 megawatt, Then among the 3 units, unit 1, 2 and 3, which one is contributing the load demand and which one will become stop, or which one is not generating the electricity? Tell me. Unit 1, 2, 3 is there and you need to generate 400 megawatt. So which unit contribute to generating the load demand and which unit becomes stop?
স্যার তিনটেই অল্প করে মানে মিনিমাম লোড নিয়ে চালালে হতে হয়
না, তিনটা অফ করে দিবি কেন?
না অফ করে না, আমি বলছি যে অল্প লোডে
All load. So look, the problem is that every generator has the minimum and maximum load demand. So if they are generating like the minimum load demand, then it is not very much economical. Generally economical is that if the generation is just in the middle, not exactly in the middle, but in the middle between the maximum generation and the minimum generation, then we can call it the economical generation. So if all the units should run, then you are not generating the power economically, because all the unit generate very low amount, 400 divided by 3, but each unit is able to generate 400, more than 400 megawatt at a time, but they are actually generating 400 by 3, so this is not economical. So why not we switch on only one unit, just switch off the other 2 units, then also the load demand is satisfied. But the problem is that which unit will contribute, unit 1, unit 2 or unit 3, because all the units are able to generate 400 megawatt. Got my point? Understand these things very carefully, because in the next day when I start this unit commitment, you must know what is the meaning of unit commitment. So unit commitment means which unit is committed to generate. That is actually the meaning of this unit commitment. Among the different unit, each unit is able to generate 400 megawatt here. So you may switch on the unit 1 while you switch off the unit 2 and 3. You may generate this unit 2 while switch off of the 1 and 3. Similarly for the 3 also. So which unit will committed to generate the electricity to meet the load demand 400 megawatt? This study is there in the unit commitment, because every unit is not identical. Sometimes to run the first unit, more cost is there. Sometimes the starting cost of the unit 1 is very high, or the running cost of the unit 2 is also very high, like this one. So based on these different factors, at the number of generating units are not identical, you need to study this unit commitment to find out which one become economical to commit the load demand. So that's why the name unit commitment. Commitment means which unit will actually committed or generating the load demand during the minimum load requirement period. Similarly for the 800 also, because when the load demand is 800, we must switch on 2 units simultaneously. So which 2 unit we switch on? 1 2, 2 3 or 1 3? So this study is actually there in the unit commitment. And here some algorithm is also there, and based on this algorithm, there are 2 actually algorithm. One is this one. This is actually the method why not to switch on all the units, like the first one said. So one is called the priority list method. So based on the priority, obviously some pre-criteria are there. So based on this one, we can select one which unit is actually committed to generate the electricity or to meet the load demand. So this one is the priority list method, but there is also some limitations are there. If the number of sizes is very big, then this method is not applicable. Then second one, we go for this more practical approaches to find out the optimum unit commitment. This one is called the dynamic programming method. So in your syllabus, all these methods are there. So you can get the numericals from the priority list method as well as in the dynamic programming method. So dynamic programming means you doesn't need to do some programming. Some problems will be given there in this way, and based on some very good digital type of things. This one is very interesting. You need to find out the scheduling of this one. Scheduling means what? If the load demand is this one, then what are the units they should actually generating the electricity? If the unit is increases, then what are the other units need to be switched on, or what are the units which need to be switched off, like this one. So this one is actually called the scheduling, and that scheduling can be find out using the priority list as well as in the dynamic programming method. And at last, you have a very big example of this dynamic programming. So you see, this one looks complicated, but when you study this one, some very formulas are there. So based on this formula, every formula is remains same. Only one formula is there. So based on this one, you can easily find out. And here actually we are finding out how much money is actually required for defined schedule. And based on that, we must decide that as this is the lowest one. So to generate this particular amount of electricity, which unit should be switched on and which unit should be switched on. So this one is called the dynamic programming. And why it is called the dynamic programming? Because it's not pre-programmed. Means if the load demand is increases suddenly, then in the online mode you need to change the generation, or you need to switch on some unit, switch on some unit like this one. So that means it's not like that if the unit is if the demand is increases from 400 to 800 megawatt, we switch off all these things. We first we calculate, then we according to the schedule we generate. This thing is not like that. So online mode means when the power plant is generating the electricity, in that moment you need to change the generation, or sometime you need to increase the generation, sometime you need to decrease the generation, sometime you need to switch off the generation. So that's why it is called the dynamic programming. So every SCADA system is actually do this dynamic programming, and based on their decision, the generation of the generator is changes continuously. So you must know these things. So in the next day, we'll start with the unit commitment. And after the unit commitment, one thing is two things are left actually. One is called the load forecasting, and second one is the tariff. So again, the tariff is also very easy. Tariff means how the electric rate is actually fixed. So it is very easy to understand that how the rate is fixed. There is a cost to generate the electricity. So this cost plus the fixed cost of the power plant plus the transmission cost, then the profit. After adding all these things, they actually divide the cost with the number of units generated. And in this way, the tariff is actually fixed. But again, one problem is there. The tariffs are not same for all the three types of customers. Three types of customers are mainly, one is the normal domestic customer, second one is the commercial customer, third one is the industrial customer, and fourth one is the agricultural customers. Agriculture plus these transport customers. So transport means the railways like this one. So all are run by the electricity. Nowadays the electric vehicles are also introduced. So these are fall under 4 categories. So based on these 4 categories, generally the electric supply authority gives some subsidy. Okay, for the agricultural they give the subsidy, for the transport they also give the subsidy, and even the domestic they also give the subsidy, and there is no subsidy for the industrial use of this power. But from where the subsidy came? The subsidy কে দিচ্ছে আমাদের ইউনিট কি পকেট থেকে দিচ্ছে? Industry. So this one is actually not called the subsidy. This is called the cross subsidization. So cross subsidization is occupied by this company. Cross subsidization means they actually charge higher price for the units in the industrial customer, and whatever with the profits they acquired from the industrial customer, they actually distribute the profits. Not fully 100%. Suppose the 50 to 60% profit they actually distributed to give the subsidy to the other types of customer. So that's why they are called the cross subsidization. So in your syllabus, this term is also there, subsidy and the cross subsidy. So subsidy means when they are actually giving our subsidy, and cross subsidy means from where the source is actually funded. So this thing is not funded by the generating authority. They are actually taking or charges higher price of the unit to the industrial customers or the big consumers, and this unit, this profit, some portion of the profit is actually distributed as a subsidy to the normal or the government customers. So this is called the cross subsidy, and this is called the subsidy and the cross subsidy, and this one is also there. And some formula, some very basic numericals are there in this tariff, that suppose these are the price for generation and this transmission, all these things. So what should be the unit price, like this one? Okay. So thank you very much for attending the class. Enjoy your holiday, enjoy your Diwali, and we'll meet again in the next month.
Sir, attendance ta.
Attendance dichchen. And if
Sir,
you have
বলছি।
anybody, you can ask me. আচ্ছা আগে
Sir,
attendance
32.
Roll number 18.
1 minute. Roll number 32.
42 sir।
Sir, 49, sir.
দাঁড়া 18 টাকে
Sir, L02, sir.
আচ্ছা
Sir,
এরপর আমরা
25
Sir,
27
31.
31
sir,
L02, sir.
L0
sir, roll 3 sir,
দাঁড়া L02 roll
Sir,
number
49.
30.
49.
Sir, 15. 15.
1515
sir 27
27
sir 30
roll number 30
42
42
Sir, 49.
49
60
16
60
ওয়ান পৃথ্বীরাজ
No sir, 60 নীলাভ।
তাই বল, আমি অবাক হয়ে গেছি। 60 আর কেউ আছে?
Sir, 13, sir, 13.
13 ঘনশ্যাম
Sir, 25.
25 সৌরভ 25 প্রেজেন্ট। এবার বল, কিছু বলছিলি?
হ্যাঁ
স্যার
স্যার
বলছিলাম যে যদি মানে 16 তারিখের পর থেকে যদি স্যার অফলাইন ক্লাস হয় তাহলে কি অনলাইন মোডও থাকবে ওর সাথে?
আমার কাছে এখনো কোনো ইনস্ট্রাকশন নেই। কলেজ কি করেছে বলতো, কলেজ হচ্ছে শুধু একটা ওই গভর্নমেন্ট নোটিফিকেশন আমাদের ফরওয়ার্ড করে দিয়েছে, দিয়ে বলছে যে ফর দ্য মেইনটেনেন্স পারপাস অফ দ্য ল্যাব অ্যান্ড অল দ্য অ্যাপারেটার্স every faculty are advised to come, direction দেয়নি কোনো, every faculties and the staff member are advised to come to the college from 25th October, and they need to maintain all these things so that from 16 we can smoothly conduct the offline classes. এইটুকু যেটা গভর্নমেন্ট নোটিফিকেশন ছিল সেই কথাটাই লিখে পাঠিয়ে দিয়েছে উইথ দ্য অ্যাটাচমেন্ট অফ গভর্নমেন্ট নোটিফিকেশন। এবার যদি 16 এর পর থেকে কি হয় আমি এখনো জানি না। স্কুল কলেজে, আচ্ছা দাঁড়া এটা এক মিনিট